This is the time of year where everybody has a prediction on watches and wonders. I think a lot of people do predictions as watch collectors and their wishes and what we want these companies to actually do coming into the new year. I do have a couple predictions, and they are not going to be based on what I want as a collector, but they're, if I was to do some kind of business consulting to the crown, these are what I would think would come, and I'm going to make my predictions based off of that. I do not think Rolex is going to introduce any new models this year. No Milgauss, no Yachtmaster 2. That's my take. I do not think that happens this year. Yes, it is the 100th year of the Oyster case, but I think there's just so much going on this year that to do all of that on a business level will take up all the oxygen of out the room for the next couple of years. I think where they go to is that they reposition the brand. The whole thing is not to get, new SKUs on there. The whole thing is to redefine the brand and where it's going to be going, not what's happening right now. That's where I look at it as. So I don't think they're going to do crazy. I think the core models, the Submariner, the Daytona, the Datejust, I think they all remain unchanged. Daytona maybe get a new colorway, but I don't see too much going on along those lines. And if they do, it probably will be mid-year releases. If I look at the history of Rolex, there is going to be no announcements. The Pepsi's canceled or the Air King's canceled. If anything, they'll remove them from the catalog and it'll be a quiet removal. Watches and Wonders is about the future, the vision, what you're going to do that's going to increase the market share or the brand positioning in the market. So I don't think anything is going to be canceled, quote unquote, at Watches and Wonders. The Oyster Perpetual, the Oyster Case 100, I think that they do something special for this. It would be nice if it's an OP. If it's a special OP, limited run, that would be nice. I did a mock-up. I call it the Effervescent dial. It is a takeoff of the celebration dial because we're celebrating 100 years. So there's two things I took into consideration. The color of the year is cloud, which is white. And then that being said, I believe the color for a 100-year anniversary is obsidian, or also known as black. So I think it'd be pretty cool if you came out with two OPs, one in a cloud dial or a polar dial, and one in a black dial that is similar to the celebration but not quite, and call it the Effervescent dial. What do you think about that? Tell me what you think about my rendering. I think this may have some legs. I think that this is one of those things to where it is still classic. It looks great. It will play well for a couple years. There's a big rumor around the Pepsi being discontinued. Pepsi's kind of the flagship of the line. Instead of the Pepsi being discontinued, if it does, this makes good business sense. Take the BLNR, put that on white gold, still leave the dial blue, bezel changes, but leave the meteorite as an off catalog version of the Pepsi and leave the stainless steel. If Rolex is having issues with making a blue and red ceramic bezel, one of the things you can do is minimize the number of bezels you make, but also keep that look in the rotation. And that would be a good way to do it. Tell me what you think about that. A white gold Batman or Batgirl, a white gold BLNR. Land Dweller is brand new. I heard somebody today tell me that, oh, it's probably going to last for 5 years. No, the Land Dweller is here to stay. It is going to be here for about 15 years or 20 years. The Royal Oak is 50 years old, and you think the Land Dweller is going to go away? No, I don't see that happening. I think what ends up happening with the Land Dweller this year is we get a new color, a brown or chocolate dial. I think that really comes through. I think that the blend will also maybe get a black dial on the stainless steel side. And but I do think that a chocolate dial rose gold land dweller may come up this year. That is something I'll be impressed to see. I think the Date 8 may get a jade dial, get a green dial, a green stone dial. Stone is big this year. A green stone jade dial would be good on the Date 8. The 1908 doesn't get enough attention because I guess a lot of people don't like dress watches. I love a good dress watch. I think the 1908 now gets one more medal as well. I think it gets the rose gold as well. And not only do I think it gets the rose gold, I think the 1908 gets a rose gold and a chocolate dial and a satima bracelet. Kind of give you that Havana look. That is what I would see. Not a lot, but enough. Explorer 2, I don't think something happens to the Explorer 2 this year. I think something might happen to the Explorer 2 next year, especially if we get a new Yachtmaster. I think the Explorer 2 will share some kind of pedigree as far as case wise. Maybe a 41. I can see the Explorer 2 going to a 41. It may stay at a 42, but I think a 41 is probably the sweet spot. A lot of people like the 40. A lot of people say the 42 is a little bit too big. Okay, Goldilocks, we may get a 41. Explorer 1. Now, this is one of those that it may become a hot take. You tell me. Explorer 1 in a polar dial. It will never happen. Now, I know you don't ever say never, and in 2 weeks, all of a sudden, you see an Explorer 1 in a polar dial because they just did the Ranger and the Dune or whatnot. No, the polar dial on Explorer, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Explorer is like the Porsche 911. I can take a 1985 Porsche 911. I could take a 2025 Porsche 911, and you can tell it's a 911, and you can tell it's a Porsche. If you go back the past 50 years, for the most part, the Explorer looks like the Explorer. What I do think may go away this year, and it'll be a soft exit, so they may not see it at Watches and Wonder, is the two-tone Explorer. If anything, there may be a version, but I don't think it happens for it, where instead of being two-tone, it's white gold. Or they may put it in rose gold two-tone. And that's something that could happen. I didn't think about that till just now when I said it. A rose gold two-tone may happen, but I don't see that version of the Explorer continuing. Does that make it a collectible? I don't think so. I did hear rumors that the 126900 Air King gets canceled this year, and that would be impressive. I would be surprised about that. But are they going to cancel the Air King? I would be surprised because the Air King is the entry into the professional lineup, and every watch on the professional line has a precious metal option except for the Explorer 2 and the Air King. There is a full gold Daytona. There is a full gold Submariner. There is a full gold GMT. I believe there is a full gold Sea Dweller, but there is not a full gold Explorer 2 or an Air King. But I think this may be the year that Rolex revives those old Air Kings that would have the polar dials and the Roman numerals and the 369 and blue and salmon and all those different colors where they used to experiment with that instead of messing with the other side of the house. I think this is the year that Rolex may turn around and actually do a polar dial Air King in white gold. Probably about 25, $28,000. That sub 30 entry point. I think that they may have a $28,000 Air King in white gold. And because of that, that's what you saw on the thumbnail. And that's what you see right now, probably on your screen is this. This is my rendering. I did this. Let me know what you think. Not only is the Air King becoming more and more popular, the Air King is no longer the entry, one of the watches that you get just to build up history. People are going into the ADs and choosing the Air King. For whatever reason, they are choosing the Air King. And that says a lot. And I think if there was a white gold version, 25, 28,000 of the Air King, I think it sells hot. It spikes. And then maybe it'll settle right around 20. When you're thinking about it, 10 grand for stainless steel. And here's what's great about it. This will probably be about 2 to 3 thousand. So if they ran it for 5 years, that's 15,000 gold polar dial Air Kings. And if they discontinued that to launch the Milgauss as the entry into the professional line from that point, now you're talking about something. You're talking about something special. And I think that would be a special watch. I don't think Rolex is trying to do anything to surprise people. I think what they're doing is to try to shift things. I mean, the land water was a surprise, yes, but you should have saw it coming. You should have saw it coming, and they prepare you, and I think that's what you'll see. You'll see a white gold. Uh, you'll see a white gold. Air King. That's my take. If I wanted to do a crazy prediction, that would be it. What are your thoughts? I'd like to hear them. Until then, like a fat kid in dodgeball, I'm out.